Hey Virgo, welcome to your yearly 2019 Sidereal Astrology forecast. All right, so this year we have an emphasis on two key areas for you. One is going to be where Jupiter is, your third house, suggesting maybe some opportunities to do some learning, exploring new knowledge. Some of you may be taking some courses or studies. Some of you writing, maybe feeling inspired to do that. And others maybe just communication opportunities there to share and exchange with others and learn from others and get into a bit of that social energy. So with that emphasis, you do have Saturn, Pluto in the south node in your fourth house. And so this is the area of home and family and sometimes health that does have to do with taking the area a bit seriously and maybe releasing some patterns with the area. So the eclipses will help you do this. All year is really good to slowly and steadily build maybe your home life or your health one step at a time, patiently, while at the same time do some releasing. See if there's some patterns associated with this area that as you release these patterns of can be very freeing and very transformative for you. So along with this, Uranus is going to be going into Aries for good here around April, and this is your 8th house. So for the next 5 years, it'll be really good for doing this kind of deeper work and transforming yourself through facing fears. In fact, as you face fears and break cycles and patterns, it can be very, very freeing for you with Uranus in the 8th. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, Virgo, so here is your chart for 2019. Now we are using the actual size of the constellations, as you can see here. So this does change the signs from mainstream astrology. If you are new, definitely check out the link down below because you will want to make sure you're watching this for your sidereal signs. So you do want to make sure you have your sun, moon, or ascendant in sidereal Virgo in your sidereal chart. There's also a chart calculator down there below to see what are your sidereal signs if you are new. But yeah, using the actual size of the constellations and also for this yearly reading, using just the outer planets here. If you do want a more detailed look at the fast movers month by month, do check out the daily videos that I do. All right, so let's go and start with January because a lot of things are starting in January involving the eclipses and the two transits, the two aspects we have this year. Starting January 5th, we do have a solar eclipse, and this is going to be in that 4th house of home and health. So again, this is a great area to take seriously, slow and steadily this year, to build some solid foundations with your foundations in life. You know, our home foundation, our health is our body foundation. And with Pluto in the south node here and with this eclipse, there could be some releasing that can really help free up this area. So I would say early January, really good to sit with the energies, see what are maybe some patterns you may have regarding home or health in some sense, your personal life, private life. Are there any patterns here that are kind of repeating? And as you become more and more conscious of that during the year, but maybe here in early January, there's this releasing that's taking place. Because as we become aware of these sort of karmic patterns, we naturally release them. And this can be very freeing, very liberating as you do this. So great time for that early January. Now, late January, January 21st, we then have the lunar eclipse, which will be in this 11th house for you. So this is where you've already had the North Node last year. And so if there's been any developments since last year regarding maybe your aspirations, your future hopes and wishes, maybe things involving groups or community stuff, or your friendships, this could be a high point, a sort of culmination of these things. So great to do a status check with these areas. How are your future hopes and wishes, your future aspirations? How is your sort of community side or your future-oriented side for things larger than yourself? And maybe make some shifts and changes there to really finalize the area. It's going to be this final integration of those things. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to July for the rest of the eclipses, and then we'll come back to January for the aspects of the year. So as we approach July, in April, we are going to have the North Node shift into Gemini. And so there will likely be this shift around the spring where you may notice, maybe along with those completions with some of those future aspirations, there's going to be this new shift into maybe wanting to explore or do some new things with your career or your public life in some sense. And so excellent year spring onward to try new things with this. Discover new things about your career, start some new things, especially in July, because right at the beginning of July, July 2nd, we've got a solar eclipse in that 10th house. So maybe some new beginnings here. So great to set some intentions from July for the rest of the year in regards to how can you cultivate your career or your public life. Maybe it's your productive life. Anything that's about your achievement, your success, or your legacy in life. Really good to explore, learn about, make mistakes with the North Node, but life is really helping you develop this area. And this is also going to help bring a lot of balance to where this heavy emphasis is on your roots and foundations this year, like your home or health stuff. Because, in order to really have good home, health, we do need things to strive for, achievements, successes, career, things like that, and that can help balance it out. But at the same time, in order to have good career and achievements, we do have to have good foundations, home life, health. And so the lunar eclipse, which will be July 16th, which will be in this 4th house, is going to help you do this status check. How has things unfolded the first half of the year regarding the home and health stuff? And it's going to be a great time to continue to release some maybe self-limitations involving it with Saturn over the South Node. Maybe release some fears involving it, which again is going to be very freeing and very liberating. It's going to be another transformation, freeing energy out of this in July. And if there was anything early in the year, in January, that started involving your home or health sector, this could also be coming to a head and some sort of culmination here in mid-July. All right, so that is the eclipses. Now, since we do have eclipse season right on the beginning of the years now moving forward, at the very end of December, we are going to have a solar eclipse in this 4th house, and it's going to be conjunct Jupiter. So what's happening is around November, the end of the year, Jupiter is going to come into the 4th house. And so not only will there be this kind of transformative, more serious energy, it's going to be a bit of this inspiring energy with Jupiter by the end of the year. Maybe some opportunities, potentials, right, helping cultivate your foundations. Now, the solar eclipse will be in a very close conjunction to that Jupiter at the very end of the year on December 26th. And so maybe some new found inspirations regarding home or health, newfound spirit about it, excitement about it, maybe some new things there moving into the 2020 time period. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to January so we can take a look at some of these aspects for the year, because they will be spanning out for most of the year here, starting at the very beginning. So January 13th, we do have Jupiter squaring up to Neptune. And then January 31st, we have Saturn sextiling Neptune. So both aspects this year involve Neptune. And so it's probably going to place an emphasis here in regards to this sector, which for you is the area that has to do with your work, your day-to-day routine, or your health when it's about your self-improvement and diet and things you do on a routine basis. So this sort of routine area or your work maybe has been a bit uncertain for about the past 10 years, or been this really needing to be receptive regarding the area, surrender what's outside of your control, find ways of finding peace in your work or through your routine. And so really a great year to do this, and there's going to be a lot of support to do it, because even though this is a square, it's with Jupiter. And so while this year, I think there's going to be a bit of inspiration to, again, maybe do some learning, some of you some writing or that communication stuff. Again, that's where the sort of can be some potentials here. That is directly, as you do that, that can directly support your routine and your work and your day-to-day. Seeing how you can, there's going to be this emphasis on your flexibility, adaptability, willingness to learn, flexible. And as you see how you can incorporate that flexibility into the routine, into the structures, that's a really, really constructive way of working with this. Same with, cultivating your communicative side, learning side can also be supportive for your work, for example. And vice versa. As you structure your routine this year, can also be very supportive for learning and the communicative side of things. All right, so that's the Jupiter square. And then Saturn sextiling Neptune is going to be in harmony between the 4th and the 6th. And so with all of this work that you'll likely be doing regarding your home or health sector, and this patience that you're developing here, that's going to directly support your work and your routine, and vice versa. As you cultivate this greater receptivity regarding your work and routine this year, that's going to directly support your home or health sector and really your emotions and feelings. You know, the fourth house is really a great year for doing this work involving, you know, sitting with your feelings, listening to them, developing emotional mastery, facing some fears, right? Empowering yourself through that, right? And all these things that have to do with your intrinsic value and values. What's important to you on an emotional level. Great year for doing the work with that stuff. All right, and so this takes us to Uranus. Uranus is going to be going into Aries in April. And so he's leaving Pisces, where he's been for about the past 10 years. And this has been on your relationship sector. So if you've noticed a lot of ups and downs or unexpected things, or maybe even some exciting things throughout the journey regarding relationships, that's all finalizing. So the real finalization is probably going to be more like this final development of freedom in your relationship sector. All right, the importance of freedom there, and even connecting with relationships and people that are more in alignment with your true self, or also want freedom or unique, unorthodox, all this kind of stuff finalizing. Now, where he's going is going to be in your 8th house for the next 5 years, roughly. And so this is going to be about mixing things up when it comes to transformation. What that essentially means is that there's going to be this great opportunity these next 5 years to do this deeper work, shadow work, facing fears, empowering yourself by breaking cycles. And all of this can be very, very freeing for you, very liberating in the process. So as you kind of explore maybe new modalities of this, whether it's psychology, spirituality, or whatever it is, good to, again, try new things, mix things up, really revolutionize this area of what's really important on a deeper level, your deeper values, and your spiritual transformation can be very liberating for you. All right, so Virgo, that is the year in a nutshell. Now, down below, there is a discount, 20% discount for personal readings. If you do want a personal look at the year for you, do check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for all of your support with this channel. It means a lot. All the likes, comments, and shares that you guys have been supporting the channel with. Very much appreciated. Have a fantastic 2019, and I will see you all next time for the daily forecast. Take care.